Hello friends, and thanks for joining us here at Non-Toxic Home. Retrospectively, there were a few things that I wanted to add to this discussion in this video. I urge you to please heed the cautionary tale that is my life. I trusted the so-called experts for decades, and it has completely wrecked my health. I am very fortunate to be alive today, and I would not be alive had I continued to trust the experts. This is an indisputable fact. As you gradually reduce the toxicity of your body and your living environment, keep in mind that you may not notice immediate benefits. However, you may notice immediate benefits, but you may not. Many effects are cumulative and long-term. That means that you won't always notice an immediate difference in any symptoms or diagnoses that you are presently experiencing. Of course, this is not medical information or advice. Obtaining truly accurate information today is increasingly difficult, particularly online. Discernment is essential in navigating this crazy brave new world in which the Library of Alexandria has been on fire for years. Don't trust anyone who claims to be an expert on anything. That is a clear indication that they do not truly understand how the scientific method actually works, and they'll likely poison you if you heed their advice. Their advice, if they consider themselves an expert, is likely based on corporate propaganda and junk science. And this includes so many natural health experts who apparently can't take 5 minutes of time to research and find that natural rubber latex is indeed toxic. Go search for the article on our website because the proof, again, is indisputable. Natural rubber latex is absolutely toxic, but those who wish to make merchandise of you and just want to make money from you will tell you that it's natural, so it's safe. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe, ever. Please be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. It's not weekly anymore. I'm still recovering, and honestly, the dirigibles/satellites from SpaceX primarily are kicking my hiney, as well as the heinies of our animals outside, wildlife, insects, particularly the pollinators, in addition to the plants. But subscribe to our newsletter. It goes out less than once a week on Saturday mornings because articles could be part of this series. I urge you strongly, question absolutely everything. When you are researching any topic, go back to the most basic question that you can possibly think of when researching it. Assume nothing is fact until your research or experience demonstrates that it likely is indeed fact. For example, when it comes to gardening, I've done almost everything that the so-called experts say that you can't do because you will kill your plants. And I not only had plants living, but I got food from them. The experts will say that you can't take garden soil, or you can't take sand, or you can't take compost, or you can't grow anything in clay soil, straight up clay soil, that especially compacted clay soil. I started seeds in all of these substrates and ended up with food. They'll also tell you that you can't prune at various times of the year when, goodness, I've done it and my plants and trees are just fine. They'll also tell you that you can't have a garden without tilling it, that you can't have a garden without fertilizing it. They'll tell you that you can't grow a garden on a hillside. I've done all of these things and still gotten food. That flies in the face of the experts now, doesn't it? You have to question everything. Don't trust the experts on anything. So few people have discernment today. Everyone's deceived about something. Everyone. We seek here at Non-Toxic Home to identify any deceptions, any inaccurate beliefs that we are holding, and identify them and demolish them. We hope that this series blesses you and empowers you to take your health into your own hands. If I had not done so, I was basically forced to, but it was still a choice. If I hadn't done so 10 years ago, there's no way I'd be here today. I would have accidentally killed myself at least every day because I wasn't told about natural rubber latex, that not only is it toxic, which nobody else apparently is saying because apparently nobody else is researching it thoroughly and accurately, Not only that, but I had a latex allergy, which the experts, including those at Mayo Clinic, didn't tell me the truth about. They said it was no big deal. Not to worry about it, just to put it on my medical record. Well, guess what, friends? If I had continued to listen to that advice, I would be dead so many times over. I can't even count it. You have to be so careful in what you believe and who you listen to that I cannot stress this enough. One last thing before I go and let you listen to the rest of the video. The lighting is subpar in this video. I apologize. I'm sorry. We got a rocket stove in the middle of where we usually sit and where it's got better lighting in our house. Our house is only 600 square feet. If you're looking to build a tiny home or build a healthy home, I recommend to go as small as you possibly can and as healthy as you possibly can. That's what we did, and it worked for me. I didn't eat for 8 months. And then when I moved in, I was immediately able to eat. And also I went from 5 to 7 Epipens a week to 1 in the course of 5 years. I call that a win, wouldn't you? Hello friends, and thank you for joining me here at Untoxic Home. I'm always glad when you decide to join me. Thank you for being here. This video is the introduction to what could be a never-ending series just about. This is in response to a question that we received, and this is a very logical question. Now, in this video, I'm going to discuss why I'm qualified to answer this question, and just in case you are unfamiliar with what we do here at Non-Toxic Home, and just in case you are new to the level of research that I do and that I've had to do. So this series, I need to be clear, it's 100% free. The only cost is if you appreciate a video, please give it a thumbs up and please share it. I would appreciate that. For an alert when new videos are posted, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. I will be sharing this series to our free newsletter as well. But I need to be clear, this is free. Now, others who have a love for money would be charging for this information, and they'd be writing books. I've written books. That's nothing new for me. I used to ghostwrite, and they would be charging you out the nose for this information. Personally, my husband and I believe that information should be freely shared because we don't own the information that we hold. That's not mine. And so as a result, this is what we do, share information freely. Now, I need to be clear for those of you who don't share our faith, I love you, but we do share our in-depth Bible studies on our video platforms. So if you do subscribe and ring the bell on any of those platforms, you will also be receiving an alert for those videos. However, if you aren't interested in those videos, then don't watch them. I need to be clear about that. If you don't want to watch the faith-based videos, then don't watch them. That's all you have to do, all right? I respect your belief system, and I expect you to respect mine as well. So this is what adults do. They respect one another's beliefs. So there will be something for everyone in this series. If you have multiple chemical sensitivities, we'll be discussing how to research building materials, including chemicals and natural rubber latex. As far as researching natural rubber latex content and products, I already have an article up on our website that you can search for. It's how to research latex content. I don't know of anyone who researches that topic as thoroughly as I do, and quite frankly, very few people are aware that natural rubber latex is indeed toxic because they don't question the narrative, the corporate industrial narrative that natural rubber latex is safe. Just because something has the term natural in it does not mean that it's safe. Asbestos is natural. Is it safe? What about lead paint on children's toys? That's natural. The lead in it is natural. Is that safe? Of course not. Oh, be ye not deceived, my friend. In this upside down world, it is absolutely essential that you do your own research. A few years ago, I shared a post to Facebook, or whatever it's called these days, and it didn't go viral, but there were over 100 shares, I believe. And in it, I will dig that post up and link to it below, by the way. But in that post, I shared all of the incidences in which we humans have trusted the experts and paid dearly for doing so. So whether someone is a self-professed natural living expert, whether they declare to be themselves an expert on chemicals, whatever kind of expert they declare themselves to be, there's generally a source for that. And you have to look behind that. You have to follow the money. Where do they get their information from? Well, I'm going to share with you where I get my information from and where I've gotten my information from. The intent of this series is to arm you and equip you to be able to do this research, this level of research yourself. Besides how to research building materials and whatever kind of product that you might want to bring into your home, we'll also be addressing topics that are relevant to someone who just simply wants to improve their health. If you're already healthy, wow. I'm not jealous, but I trusted the experts for 30 years and it nearly killed me. And if I'd continue to do so, I'd be dead billions of times over, literally, easily, because almost everything that's on the market today we're told is safe. But in reality, hardly anything's been studied. And even fewer things have been studied thoroughly and adequately and properly. Science today is no longer scientific. I stopped reading studies back in 2020 because I realized that within 10 minutes of examining a study, I was throwing it out into the trash pile of junk science. Over 90%, I realized that continuing to read this content was futile. However, I want to equip you to be able to discern more quickly and easily junk science from real science as well, because there is still some valid science available online, but it's harder and harder to find as the Library of Alexandria is on fire. Also, if you have a latex allergy, I've also alluded to that. I'm going to share how you can research for that. Herbs, natural healing modalities. There's misinformation and disinformation on both sides of almost all topics. How do you see through it? How do you figure out what's actual fact? Well, number one is following the money often. And this is why we hear from so many people who trust the natural living experts, natural health experts, natural building experts, green building experts. The green building industry is an industry. Follow the money. We hear from a lot of people who've been hurt, like I have been, like my family has been, from trusting that what's on the market today is safe. But it's not. Hardly anything that's on the market today is indeed safe. Hardly anything is non-toxic. We hear from a lot of people in regards to paint. I'm going to discuss that a little bit later in this video. Also, if you just want the general truth about things, if we're going to discuss greenwashing, astroturfing, controlled opposition, all of these things matter. Funding for science. Why is there not much science about a lot of natural healing modalities? Well, there's a reason for that. Follow the money, once again. I need to be clear here. We can disagree about some topics and still be friends. All right? I know this is a unbelievable statement in the world that we're living in today, in which everyone's divided about everything, but we can be friends and have some disagreements. My husband and I have been married for I don't even know how many years. We disagree about things and we still stay married. It is possible, I assure you. Now, who am I to speak on these topics? Well, friends, I basically live in the Twilight Zone. I haven't left our mostly safe property for over, I don't even know how long now. June 2019 was the last time I left our safe property. Prior to that, I left about once a month. And I've got an article that you can search for on our website entitled How 5G Stole My Only Safe Grocery Store. I used to go to that grocery store about once a month. That's about all that I could handle at the time. Well, small cell towers stole it from me. Then I went to the doctor in June, my old allergist, who's been since fired, of course. You can search for that experience on our website as well in regards to EMFs and mast cells. All of a sudden, he switched. He got bought out, my friend. It was so clear. This happens all the time, and we hear this from other human canaries as well. I'm not the only one. If I fail to do my due diligence in researching a topic, I pay dearly. I suffer greatly. Oftentimes, I end up in anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis can kill, my dear. Now, there are alternatives to epinephrine, but few people realize this. Most people believe the narrative, derived of course from pharmaceutical companies, follow the money once again, that there is no alternative to emergency epinephrine. But there is. There are many alternatives, and I use them myself. Ever since we moved into my healthy home, which I spent years studying and researching to plan, by the way, I've only used one EpiPen since I moved in. I was using 5 to 7 EpiPens prior to moving in. So clearly, my research paid off. My endeavors paid off. If you want to know how to test products for personal tolerance, search for that on our website. Got an article on that. As far as researching products, I often don't come to a conclusion about whether a product is non-toxic or not, or whether it's latex safe or not, for potentially 6 months. It can take that long before I'm able to make a solid determination about a product. You have to be very careful about what you bring into your home, because your home needs to be your sanctuary from the wicked poison of this world, because it's everywhere. Besides the type 1 airborne anaphylactic latex allergy, I struggle with mast cell activation syndrome. Very severe mast cell activation syndrome. In fact, obviously, I was in anaphylaxis for years. Literally. I'm very sensitive to chemicals. What works for most other people is irrelevant to me because it doesn't work for me. I can't use what most people use. I can't be around or tolerate what most people tolerate. Now, I can tolerate more these days, but prior to moving in to our healthy home, no. What worked for most people was death for me. It sent my body into anaphylaxis because it was toxic. And once I realized that years ago, I realized that the forums in which people share their experience, that wasn't enough for me. I had to research it for myself. And so I did. And so I hope that this series will help you to do so as well. We hear so many times from people who have trusted their doctors, listened to doctoral level experts, listened to the natural living experts. For example, latex mattresses. In the green building industry, the natural health industry, most people have pages in which they list latex mattresses and latex furniture, and they describe it as safe and healthy, non-toxic, natural. But it's not. Search our website. Is latex toxic? You'll find the proof. You'll find the evidence. Don't trust the experts. Don't trust your health to anyone but yourself, your own research. You must do your own research, and you must be willing to question everything about what we've been told about everything. Otherwise, you will pay dearly. I paid dearly. I'm still paying dearly. Just because I have a smile on my face and peace, love, and joy in my heart, that doesn't mean that I'm healed, that I'm cured. I'm far from it. See my article on microwave sickness, which, by the way, it does end up very heavy on faith. But if you read prior to that, then you'll find that almost everyone's suffering from microwave sickness, but doctors aren't equipped with this information, so hardly any doctors are aware of it. And hardly any people, as a result, are aware of it as well. There's so much that you can do to improve your health. So many basic things, so many free things, or inexpensive things. But those who have a love for money want you to use their affiliate links. Now, it doesn't mean that it's bad to have affiliate links. We have affiliate links for things. But we aren't affiliated with most companies. And we have a lot of companies reach out to us with non-toxic cleaning products, for example. Non-toxic makeup, beauty counter, all of these other options. They're all toxic. I don't wear makeup. I haven't worn makeup for years. There is no makeup line on the market today that is truly non-toxic. You must research. You must be very thorough in your research. Otherwise, you're going to be poisoning yourself and you won't even know it. You must be so careful. Now, today in this postmodernist moral relativism society, you hear a lot of people saying, speak your truth. Speak your truth. Well, I understand the intention. I'm not criticizing the intention of such a statement. But you'll find that that's not something that we ever say here. Neither my husband nor I. It's a very dangerous statement and belief system to adopt. And here's why. Here's an example. I stated earlier that I'd be mentioning paint. Well, please see our article on our website about paint. Just go to our website, search paint. There aren't any options on the market today for paint that are truly non-toxic and completely natural. You can make your own paint, for example, from milk paint. But there aren't any options that are natural and non-toxic. We've heard from so many people who trust the alleged experts for this information, and they pay dearly for it with their health and their well-being. That's unacceptable in my viewpoint. We take what we do very seriously. I'm extremely careful about any statements that I make. I ensure that I have researched them properly. We receive a lot of questions about products that I've never researched. And so what do I say? I don't know. And that's okay. Well, my truth over here is that there isn't any non-toxic paint, truly non-toxic paint on the market today. That's my truth. But the experts say, here's this list of non-toxic paint. Be sure to use my affiliate link. Well, they can't be true, and I can't be true at the same time. Both of our truths can't be true. So which is it? You have to choose. Speaking your truth? Please stop saying that. We can't both be speaking the truth. Either there is paint on the market, a bunch of paint on the market according to the experts that is non-toxic, or there isn't any on the market, as I declare based on my extensive research. We both can't be true. We're not both speaking the truth. You must have a love for the truth in order to endeavor and embark on a journey for true health. Now, you might find in some cases that even if you don't have a true, deep, sincere desire for the truth about what you're putting in your body, because if it's in your home, it's in your body. It's outgassing and off-gassing, whichever phrase you choose to use, into your indoor air. And indoor air quality typically is worse than exterior, outdoor air quality these days, regardless of where you're living. Even if you're living near a factory, oftentimes the indoor air quality is even worse than the outdoor air quality because of the products that we bring into our lives and into our homes that's going into your body, that's impacting you in so many ways. Now, often one classic reaction to chemicals is irrationality and anxiety, fear, emotion. Think about it. There are absolutes when it comes to truth versus falsehood. You can't just go to Snopes and decide that you know the truth about a topic. Follow the money, once again. Or any other fact checker. Someone has to fact check the fact checkers. Where does their funding come from? Some examples of the thoroughness of my research. Please see the article on our website, Is Latex Toxic? Paint. Got an article on paint. Got an article on concrete. Also got an article on reclaimed wood. We have lots of articles on our website that demonstrate just how thorough my research is. There's one topic that you can probably guess, but I'm not going to discuss in this video, that I researched full-time for over a year before coming to a conclusion about it. That was the level of research that I did. At that time, of course, I read research studies, and I read hundreds, if not thousands. I probably read thousands of abstracts and minimum hundreds of full-text studies before coming to my own conclusion. You can search for that on our website by searching for 75. It's basically a book. It's over 75 authoritative citations. Again, we can disagree about things and still be civil to one another. I was a guinea pig as a baby. I researched that topic because I was given a product as a child, as an infant, that hardly any babies got. And very few children received it as well. Hardly any adults received it as well. And that product's no longer on the market. It was removed from the market. And so the more I read, the more I researched, the more I just couldn't believe how deep the deception went. And this is the case in all industries. The building industry, the green industry, the mold industry, pharmaceutical industry, name an industry, there's deception. Because the love of money is the root of all evil. I've cured many diagnoses Food allergies. Pages and pages of food allergies that I've cured. I can eat a lot of things now. I didn't eat for over 8 months before moving into our healthy home. It's not an exaggeration. It's from October of 2018 until we moved in May 25th we moved in May 25th of 2018, and I first was I gave up on eating October the previous year. I've cured fibromyalgia. I've got a video up on, I don't remember if it's on our website or not, but it's on YouTube and Odyssey, how I cured fibromyalgia. And I had one of the worst cases per many doctors here in my state, as far as the worst adolescent case. I was first diagnosed when I was age 14, and it started in 13. When I was age 13, retrospectively, I recognized that, of course, my body, my immune system was primed for this sort of thing, but it happened in response to new carpet. My parents bought new carpet, and it wrecked me for many years. I tried everything at that time, smoothies and milkshakes and diets and physical therapy, and when I was 13, then I was first put on pharmaceuticals regularly, daily. That's wrecked me. It's wrecked my body. No one can argue with this statement. It is a fact-based statement. I was on over 75 pills a day for multiple years of my life. Today, I don't take any pharmaceuticals. I've used one Epipens since we moved in, and that's all. 0. Everything else I treat naturally. We've got an article about natural mast cell stabilizers on our website. If you have allergies or any type of mast cell activation disorder, it's very important information. Those are the things that I take, and that's not a comprehensive list, by the way. As I've mentioned, I was in constant anaphylaxis. It's a miracle that I'm alive based on all the pharmaceuticals that I took. I've had multiple surgeries. I had multiple other medical interventions. Like I said, I trusted the experts for 30 years, and it nearly killed me. If I had continued to trust them, if I hadn't stopped and done my own research as to what was going on with my body, then I would be dead so many times over. The fact is, I went to Mayo Clinic, and Mayo Clinic is, of course, supposed to be the best here in the United States. They sent me home to die. They literally sent me home to die. I've got an article up on holding on to hope when your doctor gives up. I was sent home to die many times. There were actually some really good medical professionals that I saw that said, we don't know what to do. They were honest. They said, we don't know what to do with you. We don't know how to treat you. Here's epinephrine. Let us know if we can do anything else. I dug myself out of that pit, my friends. And I did it via research, via taking control for my own health and well-being. You cannot trust anyone else for your health and your well-being. You cannot place that in someone else's hand. Now, if you need help with researching, we do offer consultations. I mean, this is not trying to get consultations because I don't have any time right now. We're very busy right now. And also, I'm not well right now. But the fact is that is something that we do. But you still can't trust me for that. You can't place that burden upon someone else, because you have to make your own decision based on the information that you receive. You have to make that decision. You can't trust someone else to make those sorts of decisions. I've had a thirst for knowledge since I was a child. I was an avid reader. I constantly asked questions when I was a child, constantly asked questions of my parents all of the time. I don't know how they put up with me, but they encouraged my desire to read. I would read over 100 books every summer. I was in the library summer reading program, and who knows how many I read during the school year. I continued that thirst for knowledge throughout my adult life. I always excelled scholastically. I had high GPAs. In high school, I was very sick from fibromyalgia, of course, and I was only in school about half of the time, but I was driven to succeed, and so I did. I believe I graduated with 3.75 or something like that. Like I said, I was only there 50% of the time. I mean, over the breaks, everybody else would be going to Bermuda or Florida or wherever, and I'd be still studying and researching and learning things. Sometimes I had to take tests during winter break and those sorts of things. When I was in college, I read journals for fun. Other students would be asking for a pair of Ugg boots when they were in college, and I'd be asking for subscriptions to journals, specifically psychological journals, primarily for me, because that was what my study was. When I graduated from Purdue, I think my undergrad was a 3.8 GPA, if I remember right. I was in Psych-Hi and all those National Honor Societies and sorts of things like that, and then graduate was 4.0. So I tested really well. In Indiana, my class had the first test for, you had to pass a test in order to graduate from high school. And I was very sick. I had pneumonia, and it was in the morning, and I didn't do well in mornings when we had those tests. But I wasn't supposed to have this information, but I actually I had the highest test score for my entire high school class. The principal just couldn't keep it from my dad. He just really wanted my dad to know, and of course my parents were just blown away by it. But so I'm very good. I was very good at being indoctrinated. I was very good at being told this is truth and regurgitating it. All right, that's not a mark of intelligence, though. I gotta be clear about that, because typically speaking, the higher the educational level of someone, the more that they stick their feet in the sand or dirt or clay soil, whatever you want to call it, and are adamant that what they were told and taught in school is fact. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Just because you're told something doesn't mean it's true. If I had approached my life with that, when 2012 was when things really came crumbling down for us. If I had approached things like that, trust the experts, there's no way I'd be sitting here today. Absolutely no way. So I've been motivated and driven to overcome all of my life. I do have a research background, scholastically and academically speaking, not professionally speaking. Wasn't in research as a professional. But one of my mentors in college was E.J. Capaldi, and he was at Purdue University. That's where I went. And he was an esteemed learning psychologist. And he came up with this crazy pants theory in the 1960s or 1970s, and it was revolutionary in the field of psychology. Just wait until you hear what this is. The theory was animals have memories. Sounds ridiculous, right? But this completely revolutionized the field of learning psychology. This theory and his subsequent studies in which he studied this. And so he was one of my mentors. I took all of his undergrad class, all of his graduate classes, and a real nice guy. And he was just a genius. He was so intelligent. But I learned about conducting a study because I worked in his lab, and so I worked with the rats. And rats are not scary. Rats are actually pretty fun, and they're smart too. They're very intelligent. Much of what we learn and know about learning and memory today is derived from studies conducted on rats, mice, and pigeons. So they are not stupid. They're actually quite intelligent because we know so much from them. So I learned a lot from him. Also, I worked with Gail Nelson doing some graduate work on a study about IBO versus real dogs, and I worked on developing a coding protocol, and that coding protocol was thick because basically the idea of the study was they brought IBO, which is a robotic dog, in with a child for a certain period of time, and then asked the child questions like, is IBO alive? Does IBO have feelings? And questions like this, open-ended questions. But also yes or no question. And then they would ask, followed up with, why? Why do you say that? And they did the same thing with a real dog. And so my work was in developing the coding protocol of it, and then also doing the actual coding.
of a lot of the transcripts. And so that was quite interesting to do. So she's got at least one book out that's a very good read if you're interested in the human-animal bond. I did a lot of interdisciplinary work. My focus was in the School of Psychology, but she was in the School of Child Development and Family Studies. I also worked within the veterinary department. Alan Beck, he supervised. He was the founder of the Center for the Human-Animal Bond at Purdue University, and my dissertation was conducted under his supervision, and that was at a middle school. And at that middle school, it was in a EBD classroom, emotionally behaviorally disturbed classroom. And the question that I posed was, do animal care tasks improve the behavior or impact the behavior of EBD children, or something like that? It's been like 20 years, so it's been a long time. Forgive me. And I did not publish that, but I did design, implement, and analyze the data, the study itself. And I did have a huge dissertation write-up on it, of course. I did, but like I said, I didn't publish it. I was urged to do so by peers and professors alike, but I got sucked into social work. So when I was in college, one of the most enjoyable things for me was ripping studies to shreds, which is probably not the most moral thing to do, to take pleasure in, but it has served me very well. Because when you examine a study, you have to decide whether it's science or not. You have to decide whether it's scientific or not, because most today is not. Now, as I mentioned previously, I spent years studying or researching and planning our healthy home. I learned from experts, best practice methods. I had piles and piles of books. I spent less than $1,000 for sure on these piles of books. I didn't spend the money that most people say that you have to spend to learn what you need to learn about building a healthy home. There are numerous people who have training courses online that you can purchase, typically hundreds or thousands of dollars. I didn't buy any of those. I did do some training online, $40 a month for 2 months, and took all the classes that I could in building inspection, in fact. And that was very helpful for me in weeding out buildings. But I need to be clear here. You do not need to spend that kind of money. You don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to get the information that you need. You don't need to go to these people who have a huge love for money, obviously, and spend that kind of money in order to gain the information. And I just need to be very clear about that. I'm not speaking negatively about anyone specifically. But the love of money is the root of all evil, once again. I also researched mold preventative building, building biology, building science, biobiology, which is, of course, the German root or whatever. Material toxicity, EMF mitigation, preventing moisture intrusion, etc., etc., etc. Then and now, my time online is limited. At that time, we were living in the middle of a 50-acre woods in a rental, and there was no landline phone access because, again, it was a rental. And because of that, I had limited access. All I could use was a cell phone, and the prison phone causes great harm. I'm still EMF sensitive, extremely so, more so than most people who are EMF sensitive. Not everyone. Some people are more sensitive, but very, very few. I'm specifically most sensitive to radio frequencies, but other types of EMFs, non-native EMFs, impact me as well. I also have limited energy, so I must be very efficient. And I learned that years ago when I was in high school, how to be efficient with my energy. Thus, many come to us for the real truth about many different topics. The more you know about a topic, the more you realize that no one can be an expert about it. because there is so much misinformation, disinformation about everything, that if you don't have discernment, then you aren't going to know what's up or what's down. There's so much information about so many different topics that it's just impossible to consider anyone an expert about anything. So, I don't think, in my opinion, no one should proclaim themselves to be an expert about anything. You will note that my husband and I never declare ourselves to be experts about anything except our bodies and our experiences. Sure, I could write books. I used to ghostwrite, and I actually did start a book in a series, which I may or may not finish. I don't know. Who knows? Not me. But I don't seek the esteem of men. Most people who write books end up esteemed by men. Men are not my ultimate authority. And so because of that, I don't have a love for money. I want you to be healthy, first and foremost, more than making $1 off of you. Before I go, I want to give you a few tips for your research. Number 1, popularity of a belief is not indicative of accuracy. I've been stating this for years. You have to get this into your head. Just because a lot of people believe XYZ is true doesn't mean XYZ is true. On the same token, on the flip side, just because a belief or idea is not mainstream, that doesn't mean it's true either. We live in a world in which we're told good is evil and evil is good. I don't care what your faith system is. You know that there are things that are evil. You know that murder is evil. You know that being nice to someone and you know that feeding the homeless is good. So it doesn't matter what your belief system is. There is good and evil. The fact is that few people recognize this and can wrap their brains around these sorts of things. So it doesn't matter whether something's popular or not. Doesn't matter whether most people believe this is true or not. I don't care. That has no impact on my research. That has no impact on the truth. Whether or not there are a lot of people that believe it or a few people that believe it, it doesn't impact what's true and what isn't. There is good, there is evil, there is fact, there is fiction. There is truth, there are lies. I shouldn't need to say this, but in the world that we're living in, I got it. Also, since we're talking about beliefs here, belief being XYZ exists, or XYZ is good for you, XYZ is healthy for you. That's what I'm talking about with beliefs. There's no emotion in beliefs. If you believe this is gray, well, looks gray to my eyes. So if someone comes up and says that's blue, I don't get mad about it, because my statement is based on fact. Similarly, if your belief about any topic is founded in solid research, solid facts, you don't get emotional about it. All right? This is very important. A lot of people miss this. If you have conducted your research in depth and thoroughly, you don't get upset when someone says you're wrong. You just say, no, I did my research. Go look further into this topic, and then we can talk. There is no emotion in it. There's no anger in it. There's no fear in it. If you haven't done in-depth research on a topic yourself, then you don't have an opinion about it. You don't get to have an opinion about it. You don't have a right to have an opinion about something that you haven't done any research on, or you haven't had personal experience with it. Of course, we live in a world in which people are told this is true, and they adopt that as their belief. But that's not their belief. That's somebody else's belief that they've adopted. And so those who do so commit a logical fallacy and appeal to emotion and consensus, and they conduct appeals to authority and ad hominem attacks, which means that you attack the person, not the argument, rather than just sitting down and doing some stinking research for themselves. Don't trust anyone who claims to or acts as though they know everything about any topic. Don't trust your health or your decisions to a so-called expert. Follow the money, once again. Saying I don't know has great freedom. If you come across someone who is looked upon as an expert and you see that they frequently say, I don't know, I haven't researched that, I don't know anything about that, it's actually pretty good. It's actually a pretty good indicator that they have integrity. They have some moral stance in behind their statements. You have to look at both sides of every story, every fact, and every narrative. Few people do this. Most people go for the confirmation bias approach, which means that when they start researching something, such as this paint is safe, they'll go from okay, I need to prove that this paint is safe, rather than, okay, well, maybe this paint is safe, but maybe this paint isn't safe. They don't look at both sides of every story. They don't look at both offers of evidence. Do you understand what I'm saying here? You can't just try to confirm your beliefs. Your beliefs have to be formed based on extensive research. So this is very important, and few people who do any of their own research consider this. Those who do, I applaud you. Lastly, but not least, I've mentioned it multiple times in this video, follow the money. Most so-called experts fail to see the big picture when they're researching. What is the big picture? The big picture is that this world runs by money. Generally speaking, research isn't conducted without there being money behind it. So you have to carefully examine that aspect when you look at any research. What we see on the television, and no, I did not stutter. I intentionally used that phrase for the television. You have to consider where those statements are coming from. When you see someone in a press conference, what about the money behind that? For example, if you examine governmental dictates and statements and legislation, now legislators here in the United States have legislated themselves into oblivion via the acronym agencies. They've given all control over everything to the acronym agencies. The Federal Reserve, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. FEMA, they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. The CDC, the can't think of it, Department of Homeland Security, can't remember the name of it, but the firearms, the CIA, the FBI, they can all do whatever they want at any given time, regardless of any legislation, because the USDA, that's another important one. The people who run these institutions are not beholden to any authorities. They are their own authorities. And in almost all cases, I can't say all cases because I haven't researched every single one, but in almost all cases, such as the FCC, for example, it has been accused in open senatorial hearings as just being the industry. Like, hey, the FCC, you are the telecom industry. And so the USDA, for example, also the industry. It's big agriculture. The USDA is big agriculture. The FDA is the pharmaceutical industry, and obviously other industries as well. It's a revolving door. You have to follow the money. So I hope this has wet your whistle and that you give this video a like and a subscribe. Please share it so that others can hopefully find it and start learning some about the truth behind what we're witnessing in our world today, the truth behind pharmaceuticals and all the other things that I've researched, chemicals, building materials, that I want you to research, and I want to equip you to be able to research for yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Have a most beautiful and blessed day. Non-toxic out.